Check out today's piece of fan art. It's a Shiro Emiya version of Neko arc. Considering Carnival Phantasm's got an ensemble of these guys, it's really no surprise. The Neko of Justice! Thank you so much, Sam Jade Harley. Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun, Dai here. So, TikTok is a bizarre social media platform. It's got some fun stuff, but it's also a place where obnoxious people can vent their nasty attitudes for the world and receive "Yas Queen" validation that makes me want to gag. One such TikTok has been making the rounds, featuring a woman with the caption, "When I see men looting Miku," to a song that screams, "She's mine!" It's frustrating how there are nearly 36,000 scurrying vermin out there that agree with her. Seriously, where do these people come from? But it's even more irritating to read the comments. The most popular of which stating that Miku is not for men. The one I hate the most states, "This, and for Sailor Moon." To explain why this is so messed up, we've got another comment saying, "Sometimes gatekeeping is okay." Now, gatekeeping is something I've addressed on this channel before, and as someone whose slogan is "Celebrate Your Fandom," you might think I'm against it. It's a nuanced issue though. Generally speaking, if you have something you love and somebody tries to butt in and get it changed, condemning the very things you love about it, then I think it's perfectly reasonable to kick them out. In other words, if you don't like it, then leave. It's fine because what we enjoy is our business. We enjoy it on our own terms in a safe, respectful way, and it's rude for someone else to barge into our business and demand we forego our own happiness for their demands. The kind of gatekeeping we see in this TikTok, however, is absolutely disgusting, condemning people for enjoying something because of who they are or how they choose to enjoy it. I hope you can see the obvious difference. The idea that Sailor Moon is only for girls is something I've already addressed in a previous video, titled "Women Do Not Own Anime Women." In it, I talk about my own experience growing up feeling ashamed for liking Sailor Moon as a kid. It was a guilty pleasure, something I didn't feel comfortable expressing in public. Thankfully, I grew out of that, and am proud to proclaim my love for the classic anime series. I think it's safe to say that attitude is much more common now, especially with feminist movements breaking down traditional gender barriers. There are laws being passed pressuring retail stores to stop branding certain toys as for girls or boys respectively. That way, a boy doesn't have to feel uncomfortable playing with Barbie dolls, or girls having fun with Hot Wheels and Nerf guns. So isn't it counterintuitive to gatekeep men from a franchise just because its cast and themes are very female-centric? It's not only regressive, but also toxic. When you deny men the ability to explore and experience feminine things, you force them to double down on traditionally masculine views and behaviors. It's ironic when people blame the failures of modern women in cinema on sexist men, when men aren't even invited to these spaces without being demonized. When AAA gaming companies refuse to make their games with female leads, claiming they won't sell unless it stars a man, this bias gets reinforced by women-exclusive spaces. Rather than saying men shouldn't be allowed to enjoy works made from a woman's viewpoint, we should be encouraging men to understand a woman's perspective, and God forbid, explore their own femininity. Quite honestly, I remember waking up some mornings to see Sailor Moon air after the 90s cartoon Gargoyles, and noticing just how dynamic and appealing the art style was in comparison to what I was used to seeing. It had women, but they were doing things that were cooler and more exciting than your typical superhero fare. This is while I was still in that childish cootie phase, so the concept of looting the Sailor Guardians didn't come until I hit puberty, and even then I was very naive to the wonderful world of H. To be fair, I don't think this TikToker was trying to gatekeep men from appreciating a female perspective. Right in the video itself, she's expressing a disdain for the way that men treasure Hatsune Miku with eyes of lust. It's not the fact that a man likes Miku, but rather the way in which he likes Miku. While a little girl might enjoy Miku as a role model, a grown man probably enjoys admiring Miku's body. Their appreciation for the character comes from different places. I'm sure a girl attending a My Little Pony convention is going for different reasons than a brony, for instance. But you know what? Tough. It's inevitable that heterosexual men will always view women as both autonomous people and potential sexual partners. A guy's admiration for a woman will often be accompanied by an attraction to her. A straight woman might not know what that's like, but a lesbian probably does. And when it comes to Miku, one of her most iconic songs is themed around a lesbian romance with Megurine Luka. The idea that a woman could be aroused by Miku isn't that outrageous. And you know what's funny? That song, Magnet, was written and composed by a man. He's an artist named Minato, or Ryusei P, who also sings his own covers of Vocaloid songs. Also, did you know that Miku herself was made by a man? Sasaki Wataru was the developer at Krypton most attributed to Miku's creation, and one of the factors he considered during development was Japan's rise in herbivore men who preferred solitude and fantasy to actual marriage or dating in public. So if we're really trying to pinpoint a target audience for Miku, while she wasn't made for the express purpose of being looted, her software was aimed at the kinds of men who are typically known for creating and enjoying lusty waifu. If anything, it's the men who should be saying that Miku wasn't made for women. But thankfully, nobody's actually doing that, and I think we have Miku herself to thank for it. The entire point of Hatsune Miku, as opposed to a real idol, is that she can be literally anything an artist wants her to be. That is to say, she has no canon character traits, and even when you play the only Project Diva game with a story mode, it's so abysmally generic that you can't say anything objective about her life. Thus, whether she's cute, cool, evil, funny, sexy, gay, straight, childish, or mature is all up to the individuals making her, and there's no rule saying she can't be all of those at the same time. In that regard, she may have had a target audience for sales, at least at first, but she clearly has no demographic for her appeal, and that's the lesson we should be taking from all of this. You don't have to be within a work's intended demographic to enjoy it, and you certainly don't have to enjoy it the same way it was intended to be enjoyed. On a wholesome note, there's this kind old lady on YouTube under the name Food for Dogs, who got into gaming after hitting some real rough times in life. She especially enjoys JRPGs for their escapism, and she's probably a bigger fan of many RPGs than the Japanese teenagers they were designed for. I can almost guarantee there are things that I love about those games that she doesn't care for, and vice versa. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she isn't as turned on by Velvet and Tales of Berseria as I am, but within that sphere I'm also certain there are plenty of places where our fandom overlaps. A brilliant example of this might be the TV series Supernatural. On the surface, it's the story of two brothers hunting various crazy creatures. Each episode typically introduces a new type of evil being from legend, and the Winchesters ultimately find ways to overcome it. In that regard, it's a perfectly serviceable action suspense series. However, the people most into the show tend to be shippers, who watch each episode with anticipation that two of the main characters will get together in a gay romance. The emotional subtext and desire for validation wind up being front and center for those fans, whereas others just have fun with Scooby-Doo crossovers and clever shit like that. It's a show lots of women enjoy because its male stars are very muscular and attractive. Thus, when I sit down and watch Supernatural with my wife, I often feel we're each getting something different out of the experience, and that's totally fine. Same goes for Miku or Sailor Moon. While a straight chick might not be like, "Damn, Miku's hot," and even find some of the outfits too risque, there's going to be some common ground between her love for Miku and mine. Because of that, fellow Miku fans usually don't tear each other apart for the different things they wind up liking about her. They celebrate it. In the end, that winds up generating more content for everyone. Otherwise, that'd be like me getting pissed at other people for finding Artoria attractive. If I could be all, "No, she's mine, all mine," then ironically there'd be a lot less of the artwork that made me like her in the first place. When I talk about ownership of one's fandom, I mean a fan being proud of what they like and why they like it. How a work becomes part of you, even in ways the creator may not have anticipated or wanted. What it doesn't mean is gatekeeping people from liking the same things you do, assuming they're not trying to abduct or change them. Ultimately, I want to reiterate what I say in this video's title, that Miku, and anime in general, is for everyone who happens to enjoy it. That includes the more obnoxious or toxic fans that we sometimes don't want to associate with. As long as you actually enjoy what creators are putting out, then you're a true fan who's not trying to ruin it for anyone else. That definitely doesn't mean we all have to agree on the same things, but it does mean we're going to have things we share in enjoying. Pushing a man out of a fandom for being thirsty is, ironically, going to make him double down on more traditionally sexist preferences and behaviors. If looting a character is one of the ways he enjoys a fandom, let him do it. Let anyone do it regardless of gender. Because it's not like you have to focus on it, and it's not taking away from anything you like about a work. Rather, that increased fandom is going to promote the creation of more content all across the board, both lewd and vanilla. As a male otaku, I will fight to defend men's right to enjoy and create works focused on women. It's not my fault I was born a man, and being a woman does not give someone exclusive rights to fictional representations of other women, no matter how misrepresented they feel they are. Fiction often exists so that people can explore ideas without interfering with the lives of real people. In that regard, a guy has every right to explore women and femininity through fiction, no matter how much it may disgust you, because ultimately they aren't interacting with you at all by doing so. Plus, if I had to bet, something tells me that letting men enjoy works made by and for women will overall help both genders communicate more clearly. As for all those comments talking about how Miku is 16 or even 14, I've got another video you can reference on that topic called Anime's Age Problem. I don't feel the need to elaborate on it here. For our discussion, I have some questions for you. Have you ever felt alienated from a community or fandom by people like this? Are there works of fiction that you are, or were, embarrassed about enjoying because presumably they were made for a different demographic? This is some serious stuff, and I'd like to think I'm understanding. So please, let your thoughts flow in the comments below. Before I go ahead and roll the credits, I want to give a vocal shout out to all my $10 plus supporters: Video Gamer 75, Samuel Gersten, Stephen Elak, Jens Bauman, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Josh, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
celebrate your fandom!